In this tutorial, I'll demonstrate how to install and configure Skedler Alerts on the Docker platform to generate alerts from Elasticsearch. In this example, I already have Elasticsearch installed. Details on installing and configuring Elasticsearch can be found on the official website. First, I'll execute this command to pull the latest version of Skedler Alerts in the Docker repository. Then I'll enter this command to run the Docker container and configure the persist folder, bind address, and port. These port numbers are set in the configuration file. Now that Skedler is installed, I'll work on the initial configuration. The configuration settings for Skedler Alerts are stored in the alertconfig.yml file, which is located in the config folder. I'll use this command to open that file. Now I'm inside the alertconfig.yml file. This is where I've included the Elasticsearch URL. Next, I'll configure the index for alerts and alert history. In Security Settings, I want to enable Elasticsearch security users, so I'll uncomment and change this variable to yes. Then I need to specify the security plugin, which in my example is XPack, so I'll uncomment here. And here is where I'll configure the username and password for the XPack plugin. I'll close and save this configuration file. My initial configuration process is complete. As long as Elasticsearch has already been launched, I can now launch Skedler as well. I'll enter this command to launch Skedler as a service. Now that Skedler is launched, I'll open my browser and go to this URL, which loads my Skedler Alerts homepage. I'll log in using the admin credentials I configured in the alertconfig.yml file. I now have to configure my alerts settings. The first step is to define my time zone and click Save. Now I'll enable email notifications. I'll enter my outgoing server and port, sender email and password, and click Save. I'll use Test Email to test my notification configuration. Next, I'll open the Index Pattern step, and I'll enter this pattern name. I'll check Refresh Indices by Schedule, and set the frequency to weekly every Monday. Next, I'll open Scheduled Alerts, where currently there is nothing scheduled. I'll click Create, then Alert. In Alert Details, I'll assign this name, which is what will appear in the subject line of the alert email. I'll choose the index I defined in the previous step, and set the index type and time field. Alert Conditions is where I define the conditions that will trigger the alert. In this example, alerts will be triggered by the threshold when authorization status is equal to authorized. In Scheduled Details, I'll define alert frequency every hour. Alert Actions is where I can specify alert email recipients and set up a custom email message. I'll save these settings, and now my alerts dashboard shows the alert I just set up. I can use the action icons on the right to edit, turn scheduling on, clone, or add tags. I'll edit the schedule and choose to email the alert immediately so I don't have to wait until the scheduled time. When I open the email that was sent, the CSV file is included as an attachment. And finally, returning to Scheduled Alerts, I can click this icon to view the triggered alert.